Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video where we're going to talk about my collection of Juvia's Place eyeshadow palettes and what I think about them. This is not going to be like a very extensive swatch party because I'm not going to swatch all three palettes for you. I just wanted to give you my overall thoughts on the brand, the three palettes that I own, which one is my favorite and why. Just all these kind of things, just chat about Juvia's Place. So Juvia's Place is basically one of my most recent like makeup love findings because I know what you're thinking. How late was I to jump on the Juvia's Place train? I know I'm really late to the party and I know that a lot of people have loved and praised the brand for such a long time. There are a number of reasons why I never tried Juvia's Place before, one of them being that for as long as the brand was only offered through their American website, I have a very strict policy when it comes to shopping from across the ocean because everything that I have to ship to here, which has very high shipping costs or costs more than 22 euros, pretty much costs me an arm and a leg, and I only invest in things that I'm completely certain that I want to own. And for a long time I wasn't completely sure that I really needed Juvia's in my life, and their shipping was extremely expensive, not to mention that most of their palettes are just slightly above that, 22 euro mark, and of course if you get it in a sale that's not a problem, but generally speaking, when I was checking a really long time ago about ordering a Juvia's palette, everything was just not quite right. So the circumstances just never presented themselves for me to try Juvia's Place, and I think it all changed when Juvia's Place came to beautybay. So I purchased Juvia's Place palettes and Juvia's Place products from beautybay, which ships worldwide. I'm going to leave a link to that in the description box below. I can say that they offer all the new things. For instance, Juvia's just came out with a new palette that hasn't still reached beautybay. I'm sure it eventually will, but just so you're aware of that, they don't have all the newest releases. Also, their eyeshadow palettes are very colorful with pops of neutral eyeshadows here and there. So that's the other problem. There was just so much different color combinations that I could never really pick one that I wanted to try, and for a lot of these I thought, yeah, but I already have Sugar Pill and I have this and I have that, and true, if I dig through my collection I'm sure I'm going to find similar shades. That being said, I do not regret trying Juvia's palettes. And the third reason is one that I still stand by, and that is most of the matte eyeshadows in their eyeshadow palettes are like warm brown orange neutrals. So if you have like a jewel toned green and a jewel toned blue and more cool toned colorful eyeshadows, and you only have like browns to work with, I don't really like that. I prefer to also have like really colorful mattes to go with that. And I believe now Juvia's actually has a palette with these kind of colorful mattes, but I think for a long time they were afraid of making these kind of eyeshadows because they could potentially be problematic. So I think the newest palette from them will probably be a very nice addition. I think it's called the Afrique palette, by the way. I think that will be probably a very nice addition if you have those eyeshadow palettes from them that have all these really colorful jewel tones. But yeah, so this was a really long introduction into why it took me so long to try Juvia's Place. But I finally have. I have three palettes from them that I'm going to share with you today, and I wanted to start with just some general remarks about the brand. I absolutely adore the packaging on all of the palettes that I have because it's colorful. If you have been around my channel for a while, I love everything colorful. The more colors, the better. And they're always like just such pretty color combos. I love the artwork on the packaging. I think it's fantastic that because it's a black-owned brand, the eyeshadows are meant for people of all skin tones and not just for pale asses like me. So most of the finishes that you're going to get in these eyeshadow palettes are either matte eyeshadows or like very foiled metallic shadows. I haven't really come across that middle range of eyeshadows which are like satin shimmer, so they're not as impactful but they're still shimmery. So if you're looking for something like that, I don't think you're going to find it in Juvia's palettes. I think you either get the super foiled metallics or you get the mattes. As far as the mattes are concerned, I think their mattes are beautiful. They are very pigmented, they apply very beautifully on the eye, they blend out easily. The only thing you should be aware of is that the formula is slightly more hard pressed, so they feel very like hard and dry to the touch, and when you dip your brush into them, they're definitely not like a softer type of formula such as Anastasia Beverly Hills mattes. They remind me more of, let's say, the Sugar Pill formula rather than the Anastasia formula. But I think for me personally, It's more about how they perform, and when you put them on your eye, they blend beautifully. As far as their shimmers and metallics are concerned, I'm going to swatch some of these for you as well in a bit. They're beautiful. They are very reflective. They're very pigmented. Some of them almost feel like creams. They're so like... what's the word? It's not greasy. Okay, I'm going to stop trying to explain this because I think you get the point. They're very shimmery and they're very foiled. Do I think they're something that you cannot find throughout other brands on the market nowadays? No, I don't think so. I certainly think these types of eyeshadows are now very common among indie brands and other mainstream brands, so they're not something completely unique and something that's never been done before. But that being said, if you enjoy very impactful foil metallic shimmery eyeshadows, this is what you're going to get with Juvia's eyeshadow palettes. Okay, so let's talk about the palettes themselves. I have here the Magic palette, which is my biggest palette from them. I also have the Douce palette and the Saharan 2 palettes. You have to classify these from my most favorite to my... well, I don't want to say least favorite because I love all of these, but if I have to rank them 1 through 3, I would definitely say the Saharan 2 wins, followed by the Magic palette, and then last we have the Douce palette. So I think I'm also going to kind of do it in that order. I'm just going to talk about these palettes in this particular order. So this is the Saharan 2 palette. It comes in this beautiful purple and yellow packaging, and then when you open it, this is how it looks like on the inside. So one thing I want to say about this palette is that I feel like the photos online don't do this palette justice, because for someone who enjoys like more colorful eyeshadows, if you look at online like pictures, you almost feel like, yeah, but I only get this pop of blue here and potentially this little duochrome green. Where is the rest of the color? You actually get very beautiful color selection in this palette. So let me hold this a little bit closer for you. You get this absolutely gorgeous like rose gold here. There is a white gold duochrome, this beautiful like bronzy pinky shade. The real star in this palette, which is this shade here in the middle, this like burgundy pink duochrome, which is delightful, delicious, absolutely beautiful and stunning. And then you get this absolutely gorgeous blue, which by the way I'm wearing on my lids today. You get this duochrome whitish purple shade, also wearing it in my inner corners, and then you get 3 mattes. Standard Juvia's procedure. There is a very warm orangey type of brown, there is a deeper brown, and I have to say this berry shade here is absolutely stunning. So let's just swatch randomly a couple of the shades. Let's swatch this one because it's gorgeous. Let's absolutely swatch this one because it's probably my favorite shade in this palette. I'm not going to swatch these two for you because, well, let's swatch the blue. I mean, I know you can see it on my eyeballs, but it's still beautiful. So the rose gold shade, look how beautiful and impactful. I mean, come on. Then you have the freaking stunning burgundy pink orange duo. It's like a burgundy copper. Ugh, it's so delightful, and and this shadow, which I'm telling you, it feels like a cream. It is amazing. Let's also swatch a couple of the mattes. So I'm going to swatch this one for you, the burgundy berry shade, because it's beautiful. And let's swatch this one, like the orangey brown, because I feel like it's a very beautiful shade too. So this is the burgundy shade, and this is the browny orangey shade. They are all absolutely stunning. I love absolutely each and every shade in this palette, and I love the color combination. I love how the colors go together, and this was a very surprising eyeshadow palette to me because, quite honestly, I expected to like it a lot because of the combination of the colors, but I feel like I was so pleasantly surprised by it that it instantly won my heart when I was actually holding it in my hands and I did my first looks with it. I'm telling you, if you enjoy a bit of a combination of warms and like a bit of jewel tones, but you're not super into the jewel tones and you just want to have like some to play around with, this may be the perfect palette for you. Let's move on to the other palette that I own from them that I really enjoy. and that is the Magic palette. So a little side note I want to throw in about this palette. This is their big Magic palette, and as of recently they also offer a mini of this palette. I absolutely 100% recommend getting the mini if you're interested, because nobody needs this much eyeshadow. So I love the packaging on this one just as much as I love the packaging on the Saharan 2 palette. And when you open it, you see that you get much more many more eyeshadows, and they're huge, they're ginormous. Like, the pens on all of these are ginormous. This palette was my stepping stone into Juvia's Place. When I was searching for which palette I wanted to get, I was looking for a good combination of neutrals and colorful eyeshadows so that I can try the most variety of Juvia's Place. Okay, I sincerely hope you cannot hear my robot cleaning on the other floor, because that would suck majorly. You know what, let's close the door, just in case. So the interesting thing with this palette is that I recently watched Angelica Nyqvist's review of all the Juvia's Place palettes, because she has all of them and what she would recommend and that kind of thing. And it was really funny because she said that she wouldn't actually recommend this palette if you are a first-time customer of Juvia's Place. So if you want to try an eyeshadow palette from Juvia's Place and you're purchasing from them for the first time, she said that according to her this was not the best palette to start with. Ironically, that was the palette that I started with, and I personally really enjoyed owning this palette because it gave me the opportunity to try more of their like warmer neutral shades, and it also gave me the option of having some of the cooler tones. I understand where she's coming from, and I absolutely think that this palette you can easily combine with a lot of their other palettes, but except for the lack of some colorful mattes in here, especially for the jewel toned eyeshadows, I do personally think this is a good eyeshadow to try if you've never tried Juvia's Place before and you want to have the most variety and the most versatility. For me personally, this was the best palette to start with. I don't regret my choice into using this palette as my stepping stone into Juvia's Place eyeshadow palettes, so I would actually recommend it if you've never tried Juvia's Place, but it really is a matter of personal taste and like what you actually enjoy in terms of color selections and color stories. So, like I said, you get a good variety of warm neutrals. Again, you get your standard orange shade and the light brown. Like I said, Juvia's didn't really dip into super colorful mattes until recently. And then you get this bottom row here with beautiful shimmery metallic jewel tone shades, and these two shades here on the sides are mattes. But you know, they're so dark that they don't really work as like transition sort of shades if you want to do a fully colorful look. So for instance, if you would ask me, I would definitely sacrifice one of these gray metallics here for a nice foresty matte green or something of the sorts. So let's watch a couple of the shadows that I really like from here. From the metallics, I think this pink here is absolutely stunning. This neutral shade is very surprising because it looks a bit like a boring brownish type of shade, but it actually has these beautiful like pinky rose gold tones to it, and it is absolutely stunning. And this gold, because this is such a beautiful stunning gold, if you enjoy golds, that is. So let's see. Okay, so here we have the neutral shade, the brown, the light brown shade, which is absolutely beautiful, the pink, and here we have the gold. If you enjoy yellow golds, you are going to love this shade. And look how stunning and reflective these are. They are just so packed with pigment and they're so creamy. If you like these types of like foiled metallics, you're going to love these. Okay, let's watch a couple of the mattes from like the warmer half of the palette. I freaking love this shade here, which is like a coral red, and I really enjoy this orange here. I enjoy these types of orange in my crease, so I'm not mad at Juvia's for having so many oranges. It's just that, you know, if you want to do a fully blue or green look, you can't really do that because all you have is browns and oranges. Anywho, so this is the coral red, absolutely stunning. And where is the orange? Oh yes, and here we have the orange. You can nicely see if you compare it to the one from the Saharan 2, they're very different. This is a much more like a brown tone shade, and this is a true orange shade. Aren't these absolutely gorgeous? Alright, so today I'm also wearing some of the cool tone shades. I'm wearing this green, which is my favorite shade in this palette, on my lower lash line. I also think this purple is absolutely stunning. And let's swatch the blue that I have in my outer corners today, which is an incredibly dark shade as well. Look at that. Alright. So we got the green here. Oh no, sorry, this is the purple. That green, which is freaking gorgeous. And the deep matte blue shade. Not a single dot. But again, you can see this is a very, very deep shade if you're going to create fully colorful looks. So to finish off quickly on the Magic palette, I think if you want to try both warms and cool tones from Juvia's, this is an excellent palette to start with. Buy the mini, don't buy this huge thing because you don't need it. Okay, and now let's talk about my least favorite, or I don't want to call it my least favorite, it's just the one that No, you know, I don't even want to call it my least favorite, because it's not my least favorite. It's just that in a ranking of 1 through 3, this one will be number 3. And this is the Douce palette, which looks like this. It has this beautiful white packaging, and then when you open it, it has this gorgeous, like warm coral salmon pink on the inside. And what I really enjoy about this palette is that this is a pastel palette. If you're looking for like the pastel version of Juvia's eyeshadows and you didn't want to go into these really like super colorful metallics, you can choose for this palette, because the shadows in this palette are much more subdued in terms of their pigmentation. They're much more like actual pastels. So the colors that I really enjoy in here from the metallics are this beautiful duochrome type of shade, which is so surprising and so beautiful. I also really enjoy this light pink and of course the green eyeshadow. So let's swatch these. So let's start with the duochrome shade. It's like a white with pink violet reflects. Then we have the light baby pink and we have the beautiful mint green. Can you see how much more like subdued and more pastel-y these shades are in comparison to the ones that I showed you up here from the Magic palette? They're still beautiful, creamy, and a delight to work with. They're just, you know, not full-on jewel tones. As far as the mattes are concerned, I really enjoy this orchid color over here, and I really enjoy this baby pink, salmon pink, warm pink. Actually, it's not a baby pink, it's more of like a warm salmon type of pink. So this is the berry shade, which is absolutely stunning. It's like a orchid purple. Very surprisingly beautiful, and this nice warm pink shade. So there you have it, guys. Some swatches of the Juvia's Place palettes that I own, just as a representation of the brand and the quality. So with this I'd like to conclude this it's not going to be short, this review of my Juvia's Place palettes. I really truly enjoy the quality of these. I enjoy the color combinations. I'm sure that I'm going to probably pick up more palettes in the future. I highly recommend Juvia's if you've never tried their eyeshadow palettes, because I think they're inexpensive. You're going to enjoy the quality. I'm actually very curious to hear which Juvia's eyeshadow palettes you have, what you think about them, what are your favorite shades in there. Don't forget to let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, very important. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!